The click of my heels echoed through the empty lobby as I swiped my keycard. 11:47 p.m. I wasn't supposed to be home until tomorrow, but I'd caught an earlier flight to surprise James. Funny how life works sometimes. My name is Valentina, and I was about to learn that karma has a twisted sense of humour. The elevator ride to the 14th floor felt longer than usual. I'd spent the whole week in Seattle closing a major marketing deal, and all I could think about was crawling into bed beside my fiancé. 3 years together, and he still gave me butterflies. I heard the laughter before I even opened our door. Female laughter. My hand froze on the handle. For a moment, I told myself it was probably just the TV. It wasn't. The sound grew clearer as I crept up our stairs, my designer heels now dangling from my fingers. The bedroom door was slightly ajar, spilling warm light into the hallway. I recognized Emily's voice immediately, my best friend since college, the person I'd asked to be my maid of honor just 2 months ago. "James, stop! That tickles!" My blood turned to ice. Time seemed to slow down as I pushed the door open. There they were, tangled in my Egyptian cotton sheets. Emily's dark hair spread across my pillow. James's hands where they shouldn't be, and on Emily's finger, my grandmother's ring. The antique sapphire that James had promised would be mine on our wedding day. Emily saw me first. She didn't scream, didn't jump. Instead, she smiled. Actually smiled. "Val," she said, sitting up slowly. "You're early." James scrambled to cover himself, knocking over a wine glass on the nightstand. "Valentina, I can explain." "This is for your own good," Emily cut in, her voice eerily calm. She twisted the ring on her finger, making sure I saw it. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply turned around and walked out, my heels still clutched in my hand like a weapon I couldn't bring myself to use. Downstairs, I could hear James calling my name, fumbling with clothes, but I was already gone. The night air hit my face as I burst out of the building, my feet bare against the cold pavement. I found myself in the 24-hour diner 3 blocks away, staring at my reflection in a coffee cup I couldn't drink. My phone buzzed continuously. James? Emily? Probably both. I turned it off. Instead, I reached into my purse and pulled out my grandmother's journal. I'd been carrying it since her funeral last month, meaning to read it but never finding the right time. A folded note slipped from between its pages. "When the ring reveals its truth, call me. Gerard, my great-uncle Gerard, the family recluse I hadn't seen in years, the man my Aunt Lucia had warned me to stay away from." My hands shook as I turned my phone back on, scrolling past dozens of missed calls to find a number I'd never dialed. It rang twice. "I've been waiting for your call," a gravelly voice answered. No hello, no introduction needed. "Uncle Gerard," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I need access to the old trust fund records." Quietly. He chuckled, but there was no humour in it. "So," she finally showed her hand. "Tell me, was she wearing the ring?" My throat tightened. "How did you—" "Come to my office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp, and, Valentina," he paused, "don't tell anyone you're coming, especially not Lucia." The line went dead. I looked down at my grandmother's journal, then at my bare ring finger. Emily's words echoed in my head. "This is for your own good." She had no idea what was coming. None of them did. Because while they were celebrating their little victory upstairs in my bed, they'd forgotten one crucial detail about me. I didn't just work in corporate marketing. I specialized in hostile takeovers. And this was just the beginning. Uncle Gerard's office wasn't what I expected. Instead of the dusty mansion my family always described, I found myself in a sleek high-rise downtown, facing a man who looked more shark than recluse. "You look like her," he said, studying me over steepled fingers. Your grandmother. She had that same look in her eyes when someone crossed her. I'm not here to talk about resemblances, I said, perching on the edge of his leather chair. I need to understand what Emily wants with that ring. Gerard stood, walking to a wall, safe hidden behind an abstract painting. What do you know about your grandmother's trust? Just what everyone knows. It's split between the grandchildren when we marry. I was next in line. He pulled out a thick folder, dropping it on the desk between us. That's what they wanted you to think? The truth is more complicated. I opened the folder. The first page was a photograph of the ring, my grandmother's sapphire captured in stunning detail. That ring isn't just jewellery, Gerard said. It's a key. Your grandmother made sure only the right person could access the main trust. Someone worthy of the Garrett legacy. And Emily knew this. Oh, yes. He tapped the folder. She's been planning this for months. Look at page 37. I flipped through until I found it. A loan application from 6 months ago. Emily's signature next to James's. My stomach turned. They've been working together since before he proposed, Gerard said. The plan was simple. James marries you, gains control of your assets, then transfers everything to accounts they've already set up. But how did Emily even know about the trust details? Gerard's face darkened. Because your aunt, Lucia, told her. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. Lucia? But why would she? Because she's been trying to break the trust's protection for years. Emily was just her latest attempt. He leaned forward. But here's what they don't know. There's a clause. If someone attempts to claim the trust through deception, everything reverts to the eldest living, Garrett. Me. I absorbed this, my mind racing. So when Emily wore that ring, she signed her own defeat, but only if we can prove the deception. He pulled out another document. Which is why you'll find this interesting. It was a newspaper clipping from 3 years ago. Emily's face smiled up at me, next to another man, my cousin Robert. She tried this before, I whispered. Failed then too, but Robert was too embarrassed to expose her. Gerard's smile was razor-sharp. I'm guessing you won't make the same mistake. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. We need to talk, please. I showed it to Gerard. He nodded. Perfect timing. I've already hired someone to track their financial movements, but we need more. What exactly are you suggesting? Play nice. Accept her apology. Let her think you're broken but healing. He wrote something on a business card. This man, Cameron Burns, he's been seen with Emily lately. Find out what he knows. I stood, smoothing my skirt. Why are you helping me? Gerard walked me to the door, his hand gentle on my shoulder. Because your grandmother made me promise to protect you. And because, he paused, because some debts can only be paid in full. As I turned to leave, he called out, Valentina, remember, the best revenge isn't served hot or cold. It's served exactly when they think they're safe. I nodded, clutching the folder to my chest. My phone buzzed again, James this time. Baby, please, let me explain. I texted them both back the same message. Coffee tomorrow? I think I'm ready to talk. In the elevator, I caught my reflection in the mirrored walls. I looked different somehow. Harder, colder. Emily wanted to play games? Fine. But she'd forgotten something crucial about me. I grew up in a family of wolves, pretending to be sheep. It was time to show my teeth. I dialed the number Gerard had given me. Hello? Is this Cameron Burns? I have a business proposition for you. The game was on, and this time I was making the rules. You look amazing, Angela whispered, adjusting my dress. Are you sure you want to do this? I surveyed my penthouse, now filled with floating candles and champagne towers. The moving forward party was in full swing, and every guest was watching me like they were waiting for me to crack. Trust me, I said, plastering on my brightest smile as the elevator chimed. Watch and learn. Emily walked in first, wearing my grandmother's ring like a trophy. James trailed behind her, looking uncomfortable in his designer suit. The room went silent. I floated toward them, arms open. You came. I was worried you wouldn't. Emily's confident smile faltered for a second. This wasn't the broken woman she'd expected to find. Val, you look, well. Why wouldn't I be? I kissed her cheek, letting my lips linger near her ear. Nice ring. James stepped forward. Valentina, can we talk? Of course. I grabbed their hands, pulling them toward the crowd. Everyone, I want to make a toast. Angela, right on cue, started passing out champagne flutes. I'd rehearsed this moment for days. To new beginnings, I raised my glass. And to true love, wherever we find it, even if it's not where we expected. I locked eyes with Emily. Sometimes betrayal is a gift, showing us who people really are. The crowd murmured uncomfortably. Emily's grip tightened on her glass. To truth, I finished, downing my champagne. As the party continued, I played my role perfectly, the gracious hostess who'd risen above the drama. Angela worked the room, pretending to sympathize with Emily while fishing for information. Did you see how she just welcomed them? I heard one guest whisper. Either she's lost her mind or she's planning something. They had no idea. Near midnight, Gerard's lawyer pulled me aside. We have a problem, he said, showing me a document on his phone. These real estate transfers? Someone's been signing your name. My blood ran cold as I studied the signatures. They were good forgeries, but definitely not mine. When were these filed? 3 days ago. After the incident, but before today. I scanned the room until I found Emily by the bar, laughing with a group of our old college friends. She caught my eye and raised her glass with a smirk. There's more, the lawyer continued. The trust has a dishonor clause. If we can prove public betrayal, everything they're trying to steal reverts to Gerard's control. Public betrayal? I watched Emily twirl my grandmother's ring. Define public. It needs to be witnessed, documented. Undeniable. He lowered his voice. And it needs to happen soon, before these transfers clear. I felt a tap on my shoulder. James stood there swaying slightly from too much champagne. Can we please talk? Privately? Perfect timing. Of course. I led him to my home office, aware of Emily watching us. Once inside, he collapsed into a chair. I'm so sorry, he slurred. It just happened. And then Emily said you'd never have to know, and the money... He caught himself too late. The money? I kept my voice gentle, recording every word on my phone hidden in my clutch. What money, James? He looked up, suddenly more sober. I shouldn't be here? No, I smiled. You shouldn't. When we returned to the party, Emily was gone. But she'd left something behind. A note slipped into my purse. Loved the party. But we both know you can't keep this act up forever. Sign the transfer papers or the next revelation won't be so private. I showed the note to Angela, who'd been gathering intel all night. What did you find out? Emily's been meeting someone named Cameron almost every night. And, get this, your Aunt Lucia's been funding their little scheme. I pulled out my phone and dialed Gerard. It's time for phase 2. Set up the meeting with Cameron. Are you sure? He asked. Yeah, Once we start this, there's no going back. I looked at the note again, then at James passing out on my couch. Emily thought she was so clever, playing chess while I played checkers, but she'd forgotten something crucial. I wasn't playing either game. I was burning the whole board. I sat in my car outside the Blue Room, watching Emily and Cameron argue through the window. She jabbed her finger at his chest while he shook his head repeatedly. The sapphire ring caught the light as she gestured wildly. My phone buzzed. Gerard, are you in position? Yes, they're fighting about something. Perfect. Remember, get him alone. The recording device I gave you has enough battery for an hour. I adjusted my wig and sunglasses. The blonde bob and designer outfit were a far cry from my usual look. I'm going in. The bar was dimly lit, perfect for secrets. I slid into a booth near their table, close enough to hear snippets of their heated conversation. This wasn't the agreement, Cameron hissed. You said nobody would get hurt. Emily's laugh was bitter. Don't get moral now. You've been paid. Not enough for this. The psychiatric evaluation, that's too far. My blood ran cold. Psychiatric evaluation. They argued for another 10 minutes before Emily stormed out, leaving Cameron nursing a whiskey. I waited 5 minutes, then made my move. Rough night. I slid into the seat across from him. He looked up, not recognizing me. You could say that. Let me guess. Woman troubles? I signalled the bartender. Another round for my friend here. 2 drinks later, Cameron was talking freely. She's crazy, you know. Started as a simple job. Make sure this guy proposes to her friend. Easy money. And then it got complicated. She wanted documents forged, medical records altered. He drained his glass. Now she's talking about having her friend committed, making it look like she's unstable. I kept my voice steady. Committed? Yeah, already got a doctor on payroll. Once the trust transfer goes through, boom, her friend takes a little vacation to the psych ward. He laughed darkly. Emily's got it all planned out. Sounds like Emily's quite the mastermind. I leaned forward. Tell me, Cameron, what's your price for switching sides? He froze. Who are you? I removed my sunglasses. Someone who can pay triple what Emily offered. Recognition dawned in his eyes, followed by fear. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Relax, I said, sliding an envelope across the table. Inside is a cashier's check for $50,000. There's another one waiting if you help me take her down. She'll kill me. She'll try. I showed him my phone, playing back his confession about the psychiatric setup. But right now, I own you. So, what's it going to be? He stared at the envelope for a long moment. What do you need? Everything. Documents, recordings, names. Especially about this doctor she's got lined up. Cameron pulled out his phone, hands shaking. I've got recordings. Lots of them. She never shuts up about her plans when she's drinking. Send them to this email. Now. As he forwarded the files, I texted Gerard. You were right. Psychiatric setup in play. Getting proof now. One more thing, Cameron said, looking nervous. There's something you should know about your Aunt Lucia. What about her? She's the one who introduced Emily to the doctor. They've been planning this for months. The ring, James, all of it. It was Lucia's idea. My own aunt. The betrayal burned, but I kept my face neutral. Thank you, Cameron. Expect contact from my uncle's lawyer tomorrow. I stood to leave, but he grabbed my wrist. Valentina, be careful. Emily's got nothing left to lose now. No, I said, pulling away. But she's about to. Outside, I called Gerard again. It's worse than we thought. Lucia's behind everything. I was afraid of that. He sighed heavily. Come to my office first thing tomorrow. And Valentina, don't go home tonight. Emily's not the only one we need to worry about anymore. I looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror, removing the blonde wig. Emily wanted to paint me as unstable? Fine. I'd show her what crazy really looks like. Starting tomorrow, the real game begins. And this time, I'm playing for keeps. Your aunt, Lucia, orchestrated everything, Gerard said, spreading documents across his desk. She's been trying to break the trust for decades. Emily was just her latest puppet. I picked up a photo. Lucia and Emily at lunch 6 months ago, before any of this started. Why? She's family. Family means nothing to Lucia. Gerard's voice was bitter. She tried the same thing with your mother years ago. That's why she left. The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. My mother didn't abandon us. No, Lucia drove her away with false accusations, similar to what they're planning for you. Your mother chose exile over destruction. He pulled out another file. But she left this for you. Inside was a letter, my mother's handwriting still familiar after all these years. When did she? Last week. She's been watching from afar. She knew this day might come. A knock interrupted us. Gerard's lawyer entered, looking grim. We have a problem. Lucia's filed for emergency conservatorship over Valentina. Claims she's mentally unstable and a danger to herself. On what grounds? They're using the party as evidence. Says your erratic forgiveness shows signs of breakdown. They've got a doctor ready to testify. I slammed my hand on the desk. They can't just... They can, Gerard cut in, unless... Unless what? He shared a look with his lawyer. There's one way to stop this. The trust has a public scandal clause. If we can prove they attempted to defraud the family publicly, everything reverts to my control. Define publicly. Witnessed by at least 50 people. Documented, undeniable. The lawyer adjusted his tie. But it's risky. If we fail, I lose everything, I finished. No, not just that. Gerard leaned forward. You'll be committed. Lucia's already arranged it. My phone buzzed. Emily again. Heard about the conservatorship. Should have taken the deal. Last chance. I stood up, grabbing my purse. I need some air. 20 minutes later, I stood at my grandmother's grave, the morning mist curling around the headstone. What would you do? I whispered. She'd fight. I spun around. A woman stood there, older but familiar. My heart stopped. Mum? She stepped forward, tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry, baby. I should have fought harder back then. Why are you here? Because history's repeating itself. She touched the headstone. Your grandmother helped me escape when Lucia tried to destroy me. Now it's your turn to break the cycle. How? By doing what I couldn't, exposing them publicly. She pulled out an envelope. These are the original documents from 20 years ago, proof of everything Lucia did to me, and what she's doing now. I took the envelope with shaking hands. Why didn't you show these before? Because I was afraid. But you're stronger than I was. She squeezed my hand. Gerard has a plan. It's dangerous, but it's the only way. My phone buzzed again. Gerard. Found the perfect venue. Family funeral next week. Everyone will be there. I looked at my mother, seeing my own determination reflected in her eyes. Will you help? Every step of the way. She smiled. It's time the Garrett women stopped running. Back in Gerard's office, we laid out the plan. A fake funeral for a distant relative would draw everyone in. The perfect stage for exposure. Once it starts, Gerard warned, there's no going back. Lucia will fight dirty. Good. I held up my mother's envelope. So will we. I drafted a text to Emily. You win. I'll sign whatever you want. Just give me a week to say goodbye. Her response was immediate. Smart girl. Finally, seeing reason. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. They thought they were breaking me. Instead, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about Garrett women. We don't break. We break even. Make the funeral arrangements, I told Gerard. It's time for a family reunion they'll never forget. The game was entering its final phase, and this time everyone would be watching. The funeral home buzzed with whispers as I approached the podium. Every major player was here. Emily in the front row, still wearing my grandmother's ring. James fidgeting beside her. Lucia looking smug in her designer black dress. And scattered throughout, 50+ witnesses to what was about to unfold. We gather today to remember Cousin Marcus, I began, my voice steady. Though distant in relation, his passing reminds us of what family truly means. Emily shifted uncomfortably. She knew there was no Cousin Marcus, but she couldn't say anything without revealing she'd helped plan this fake funeral. Family means trust, I continued, making eye contact with Lucia. It means loyalty. And sometimes, I pressed the remote in my pocket. It means justice. The lights dimmed. A projector whirred to life and Emily's voice filled the room. Once she's declared unstable, we'll have complete control. The doctor's already paid off. Lucia's handling the paperwork. Emily jumped up. This is fake. Is it? I played another recording. This time it was Lucia's voice. Emily's perfect for this. She'll do anything for money, just like she did with Robert. Once Valentina's committed, the trust is ours. The room erupted in gasps. Lucia's face went pale. That's not all, I announced, nodding to Gerard. He started distributing copies of my mother's documents. 20 years ago, the same thing happened to my mother. Lucia tried to have her committed too. Here's the proof. Stop this, Lucia screamed, but it was too late. I turned to Emily. Show them the ring. What? The ring you're wearing. Show everyone how you got it. She tried to leave, but Cameron, right on cue, blocked the exit. Tell them, Emily. Tell them how we planned it all. James stood up. Emily, what's he talking about? Oh, James. I smiled sadly. You were just another pawn. Show him the prenup you forged, Emily. The one with my signature. Emily's composure cracked. You can't prove anything. Actually, my mother stepped out from the side room. We can prove everything. Lucia fainted dead away. The crowd was in chaos. Emily lunged for the door, but was stopped by Gerard's security. The ring, I demanded again, holding out my hand. With trembling fingers, Emily removed it. As it touched my palm, Gerard stood up. As witness to this public confession of fraud, he announced formally, I hereby invoke the Trust's dishonour clause. All assets revert to my control, effective immediately. Emily's face contorted. You planned this, all of it. No, Emily, you planned this. I just helped it along. I slipped the ring onto my own finger. By the way, the doctor you paid off, he recorded everything. The police have it now. James tried to slink away, but bumped into Angela, who'd been filming everything. Going somewhere. The SEC would love to hear about those insider trading deals you made with Emily. The funeral home doors opened. 2 police officers entered. Emily Wallace and Lucia Garrett. One stepped forward. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and attempted false imprisonment. As they led them away, Emily screamed back at me, I did this for your own good. No, I said, watching her go. You did it for yourself. And now you've lost everything. The crowd began to disperse, murmuring about the scandal. James tried to approach me, but Gerard's security blocked him. "Don't bother," I told him. "Your company's board has already been notified about your involvement. Good luck finding another CEO position." Later, in Gerard's office, my mother hugged me tight. "You did it. You broke the cycle." "We did it," I corrected, looking at Gerard. "All of us." Gerard raised a glass. "To the true Garrett legacy, justice served cold." My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Emily, sent from the police station. "You've ruined me." I typed back, "No, you ruined yourself. I just made sure everyone saw it happen." Then I blocked her number, turned to my family, my real family, and smiled. "So, who's hungry? I hear there's a lot of unused funeral food downstairs." Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's making sure everyone watches it destroy the guilty. The courthouse hallway felt colder than usual as I waited for the private hearing to begin. Emily sat across from me, her designer clothes replaced by something off the rack, her perfectly manicured nails now bitten to the quick. "All rise," the bailiff called. The judge entered, looking stern. "This is a civil hearing regarding trust disbursement and fraud allegations." "Let's begin." My lawyer stepped forward, presenting the recordings, documents, and witness statements. Emily's attorney looked increasingly desperate as evidence mounted. "Your Honour," he attempted, "my client was merely conspiring to have me committed," I interrupted. "Playing recordings now?" Emily's voice filled the courtroom. "Once she's locked up, we'll have full control. The doctors already prepared the diagnosis." The judge's expression darkened. "Ms. Wallace, these are serious allegations." "It was Lucia's idea," Emily blurted out. "She promised me a percentage if I helped." "By seducing my fiancé and stealing my grandmother's ring." I pulled out more documents. "Or by trying the same scheme with my cousin Robert 3 years ago," Emily's lawyer whispered urgently in her ear. But she was unravelling. "You had everything," she snapped. "The perfect life, the perfect family, the perfect trust fund." "What about the rest of us?" "The rest of us work for it," I replied calmly. "We don't destroy people's lives." The judge cleared his throat. "I've heard enough. Given the evidence, I'm ruling in favour of the plaintiff. Ms. Wallace is hereby permanently barred from any claim to the Garrett family trust." But I wasn't done. "There's more, Your Honour." My lawyer presented the final document, a detailed report of Emily's professional misconduct, including forged signatures and fraudulent business dealings. "We're submitting this to the State Licensing Board," I announced. "You won't be practicing law anymore, Emily." The colour drained from her face. "You can't." "I can, and I did." I stood up. "You tried to take everything from me. Now you know how it feels." Outside the courtroom, Gerard waited with news about James. "His startup's finished. I pulled my investment, and word got around about his involvement in the scheme. No one will touch him now." "Good." I watched Emily being consoled by her lawyer. "And Lucia?" "Facing criminal charges. The evidence your mother provided was quite thorough." He smiled grimly. "The Garrett name means something again." Angela rushed up, waving her phone. "You need to see this." Emily's firm just released a statement distancing themselves from her. "She's been officially disbarred." I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt oddly hollow as I watched Emily slump against the wall, her world crumbling around her. She caught me looking and straightened up, trying to maintain her dignity. "Congratulations," she said bitterly. "You've won." "No, Emily." "Nobody won here. I reached into my bag and pulled out an old photograph. The three of us from college, arms linked, smiling without secrets. I tore it in half and handed her her portion. "This is for your own good." Her face crumpled as her own words came back to haunt her. She fled down the hallway, her heels echoing against the marble floors. "That was poetic," my mother said, appearing beside me. "But was it worth it?" I touched my grandmother's ring, now rightfully on my finger. "Just ask me in a year." Later that night, I sat in Gerard's study, watching the news coverage of Emily's downfall. Her face splashed across business journals, legal websites, social media. Everywhere she turned, her shame followed. "To think," Gerard mused, "she could have had a successful career, a genuine friendship. Instead, she chose this." My phone buzzed with a text from Angela. "James just got rejected for another job." Karma's not done yet. I poured myself a drink and raised it to my reflection in the window. The woman staring back wasn't the same person who'd walked in on her fiancé and best friend. She was harder now, stronger, maybe a little colder. "To Karma," I whispered. But as I watched Emily's public disgrace play out on every screen, I wondered if karma was really what this was about, or if I'd become something else in my quest for justice. Only time would tell. The autumn breeze carried the scent of salt as I stood on Gerard's coastal estate balcony, watching waves crash against the rocks below. My phone buzzed. Another letter had arrived from Emily. "Want me to burn this one too?" Angela asked, holding up the envelope. "No." I took it from her but didn't open it. "Add it to the others." Inside my study, a box held 17 unopened letters from Emily. Each one arrived like clockwork every 2 weeks since the hearing. I hadn't read any of them. "She's working as a paralegal in Minnesota now," Angela said, scrolling through her phone. "Under a different name." "And James?" "Living with his parents. Still unemployed." She looked up. "Do you ever regret it?" Before I could answer, Gerard appeared in the doorway. "Your mother's here," and she brought a visitor. I followed him downstairs to find my mother in the living room with a familiar face. "Cameron." "Before you say anything," he held up his hands, "I came to warn you." "Emily's back in town." My stomach tightened. "Why?" "She's desperate, lost everything, keeps talking about making things right." He shifted uncomfortably. "But that's not all. Lucia's been released early for good behaviour." "Let them come," Gerard said firmly. "We have nothing to hide." My mother touched my arm. "Sweetheart, maybe it's time to read those letters." I stared at the latest envelope in my hand. Why? What could she possibly say? "Because carrying this weight isn't serving you anymore." She gestured around the room. "Look at what you've built." She was right. After everything, I'd use my portion of the trust to start a women's legal advocacy group, helping others fight back against manipulation and fraud. We'd already helped dozens of women reclaim their lives. I tore open the envelope. "Dear Valentina," it began, "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even want it. What I did was unforgivable, but you deserve to know why." The letter detailed Emily's own family history. A mother who taught her that love was transactional, that security only came through control. She'd learned manipulation as a survival skill. "It doesn't excuse what I did," she wrote, "but watching you rise from the ashes of what I did, it changed me. You showed me another way to be strong." "Valentina?" Angela's voice pulled me back. "There's someone at the gate." The security camera showed Emily, alone, clutching something in her hands. "Let her in," I said. Minutes later, we faced each other in the foyer. She looked smaller somehow, more real without her expensive armor. "I read your letter," I said. "I meant every word." She held out what she was carrying, a familiar photo album. I found this when I was packing up my old life. It's all our college memories. Before I became this. I took the album but didn't open it. Why are you really here, Emily? To show you something. She pulled out her phone, showing me an email. I've been volunteering at a women's shelter in Minnesota. They offered me a job as their outreach coordinator. No law, no schemes, just helping. And you came all this way to tell me this? No. She met my eyes. I came to thank you. You didn't just take everything from me. You showed me who I could be without it. I studied her face, searching for manipulation, but finding only exhaustion and truth. The shelter, I said finally. What's their budget like? Her eyes widened as she understood. You don't have to. I want to. I turned to Gerard. Can we arrange a grant through the advocacy group? He nodded, smiling slightly. Emily started to cry. Not the calculated tears I'd seen before, but real, messy ones. I don't deserve. This isn't about deserving, I cut in. It's about choosing who we become. After she left, I stood again on the balcony, the album heavy in my hands. My mother joined me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. Karma isn't just about punishment, she said softly. Sometimes it's about transformation. I opened the album to find our younger selves smiling back at me. We'd all changed so much since then. Maybe that was the point. Loyalty is a currency, I said, echoing my grandmother's words. But compassion is priceless. The waves crashed below, washing everything clean,